Hello, everyone. My name is Danica. I'm part of the events team at SMR, and I'd like to welcome you to today's session, Data-Driven Foresight, or Transforming Trend Reporting and Foresight into Science. So, without further ado, I'm going to kind of introduce our speakers and hand it over to them. Like I said, we have Mario Coletti, MD and founder of Next Atlas in the UK. He's made innovation, technology, and R&D across industries his main focus during his entire career. He's worked with huge giants like BP, partnering in Formula One with teams such as McLaren, and today looking at how artificial intelligence can contribute to building a better society. Serhiy Kalinovsky is strategic foresight lead at Mondelez International, the global snacking powerhouse I'm sure many of you are familiar with. In this role, he's tasked with building up foresight capability and encouraging future-oriented long-term thinking culture in the organization. He's had over 20 years of experience across marketing, analytics, and strategy functions. So without further ado, I'm handing it over to these fine gentlemen. Take it away and have fun and enjoy the session today, everyone.
Thanks, Danica. Thank you very much. And thanks for the introduction. I'm not 100% sure that we are as famous as Netflix, but that was a very, very good hint, Danica. Maybe one day we'll be as famous as Netflix and we will have as many customers as Netflix.
Just putting it out there, Mario.
Yeah, no, very, very kind of you. Very kind. It's a good kind of projection and prediction. So. Yeah, and so today we are going to co-present, Serhiy and myself, about our journey that we went through in the past year or so. That was a journey that was focused on how to make foresight data-driven and how to use foresight in a way that is actually quantifiable in order to help mondelez to use trends for a better evaluation and prioritization of the future of the business. What I will do is I will take you through the journey that Serhiy, myself, and the rest of the team at Next Atlas and at Mondelez took to arrive where we are today. And obviously, I need to give you a little bit of an explanation of who Next Atlas is and what is our value proposition and how do we work. We are now a 5-year-old company that has developed a unique artificial intelligence solution that is able to identify what we call predictive audiences. Audiences of consumers that through social media share their views and their vision about the future of products and consumption and so on, and therefore can be considered trend originators. We use the analysis of those predictive audiences to identify what is going to be and what are going to be the future trend, and translate all that in trend reporting, which can be used by any brand, any company, any agency, organization to predict and see where the future is going. The benefit of our technology is that everything we do and analyze is data-driven. And is data-driven using a unique methodology that is able to analyze both the visual and the verbal content coming out of social media. Over the years, we have developed essential metrics that are giving us quite a specific, precise prediction and predictability of how things will happen in the future. And another great benefit of our technology is that rather than using desk research to analyze data and transform data into trend reports, our analysis is always on, and therefore we can constantly see and monitor how things are changing over time. As I mentioned earlier on, we have a specific, unique technology that uses artificial intelligence to identify what we call the breakthrough innovators. And this is our simple process to move from identifying those audiences down to developing and providing the solution. By spotting our breakthrough innovators, we are able to collect the data and transform and translate the data coming from their conversation, both from a visual and a verbal perspective, into something that is predictable and can actually be forecasted at scale. We analyze historical data, but also we identify how things are moving and changing, and we are able to split and separate what is the noise and what are the fads from the real kind of element and data that are relevant for our predictions. One of the secret of Next Atlas is the ability to identify what we call the weak signals. So early conversations that are happening that traditionally would not be spotted by traditional social media listening. And those weak signals are the ones that are anticipating what the future trends will be. So before a trend becomes mainstream, it takes and can take between 24 to 36 months before actually hit the majority of consumers. And the ability of Next Atlas is actually to anticipate that kind of signal and see when and predict when that signal will become potentially a mainstream trend within the consumer. So leveraging this technology, we can constantly reanalyze the data and visualize and see what is happening. And all that I was mentioning is based on quantitative analysis combined with qualitative outputs. So the combination of qualitative and quantitative solution is critical to provide a very rich amount of insights and report to our clients. Just to give you an idea about the quantitative element of it, our constant evolving and changing base of breakthrough innovators is made of over 300,000 specific innovators worldwide. So we cover at worldwide level every market that has a good penetration of social media data and can indicate or give a direction about the future trend. We analyze more than 50 million posts per week, and actually we have a large base of tracked tags that we constantly analyze and monitor across multiple social media platforms. And you can see there the symbol of the platforms, but I would like to show them and to talk about the platforms one by one, because they give us very different and a very different number of information and insights that we can elaborate. Next Atlas is mainly alimented and enriched by the use of Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, Reddit, Spotify, and Behance. The reason why we are using those platforms is because each of those platforms are actually giving us a different angle and a different aspect. And therefore, by using those platforms combined together, we have the opportunity to really identify and see what are the changes and taking the analysis from different angles. By accessing the official APIs of each of those platforms, we are able to access the data of millions of the users to identify those innovators and early adopters that I was mentioning. Obviously, Instagram is very rich from a visual perspective and also across industry with a worldwide diffusion, and plus a very good distribution across all ages. So the Instagram element is actually feeding us a great value and a great amount of information and data from a visual perspective. Twitter, as we know, is a very active, live, constant kind of evolution of conversation and so on. The combination of the visual and the verbal elements in Twitter, plus the worldwide diffusion and the variety of different topics that are covered in Twitter are giving us a very rich amount of data and information related to multiple topics across multiple industries. Pinterest is critical and essential for visual clues and visual information, and is very good from a creative perspective. Reddit is a great community of innovators itself, so it gives us a very good perspective of the future. And then enriching all those with Spotify, we can actually connect and link the visual and the verbal with a musical aspect, which is also very important for consumers. And finally, Behance is a very rich container of information, case studies, and so on from the creative community. We do not actually stop to analyze those social media networks. As we work with our clients, both based on our SaaS platform, NextAtlas, which is common to all our clients, we also work with our clients to identify and deliver bespoke solutions. And for bespoke solutions, we also have access to geographical areas which are not always accessible, such as Vcontent for Russia or Sina Weibo for China. And plus, we also enrich all the data and analysis that we do with YouTube feed that can enrich further the amount of insights that we receive. I would like to highlight specifically the aspect of Sina Weibo, because with many of our clients we work with, there is increasing interest in the penetration of the Chinese market, which is very difficult, obviously, to analyze using the traditional social media network. And thanks to the analysis and the use of the data from Sina Weibo, we are able to give to our clients the perspective of the opportunity with the real Chinese consumers, with a penetration which is also 30-40%, almost 30-40% of the total population of China. So it's a really strong source of data for this specific and particular market. I want to explain a little bit more about the approach that we take and the difference between the way and the work we do and the work that is done traditionally in social media listening. The reason why we focus specifically on innovators and early adopters is because those audiences are the ones that are giving us the opportunity to see what is the trend and the evolution of certain concepts, certain ideas, certain insights, and so on and so forth. So what we do is complement what traditional social media listening operations and solutions are providing, giving to the brands the view about the future. While the social media listening traditional metrics are measuring the branding impact in the mainstream, so if you like, they measure the present and the past, we actually give the projection about what would be the opportunity and the projection for the future. And this is how the two things come together and can provide a very strong and valuable kind of volume of data and information to our clients. How do we deliver all this is, as I mentioned earlier on, through the NextAtlas platform. The NextAtlas platform is a SaaS platform that can be accessible through license. As I mentioned before, in addition to the NextAtlas platform, we can also provide bespoke solution to our clients. And very often the bespoke solution go beyond the simple analysis or the basic analysis of trend and trend forecasting, and go more specifically in the analysis of segmentation, audiences, product innovation, and so on and so forth. So whilst the aspect of trends is very much the origin and the DNA of NextAtlas, we have expanded over the years into solutions which are wider solution that can use the data that are coming from social media to basically replicate what can traditionally be done through market research. So rather than using market research data coming from interviews and coming from questionnaires, we actually pose the same questions that are used in market research, but we actually analyze those questions in an unprompted way through social media. And this is one of the benefits of using our methodology, which is basically using unbiased data and anonymous data that can come from social media in a volume which is significantly bigger and larger than the traditional market research solution. But Next Atlas is our main platform, and it is the platform that is accessible to all our licensees, and is structured in a way that is easy to use and is useful to use for any sort of industry that is actually consumer facing. We have structured the platform in a way so that all the information can be easily read and interpreted and made related to the specific industry and to the specific brand. And we have identified a formula to divide the information in different layers. So we have facts, and the facts are 100% AI driven. They are purely pushed by the machine, identifying emerging correlation across different conversation and highlighting the aspect of something that is growing very fast or declining very fast. In addition to the facts, we actually put together the insights, and the insights are a combination of AI and also human intelligence, bringing together multiple facts when they are highly correlated to develop a proper insight, which can be related and action driven for a brand perspective. And finally, the biggest and articulated aspect are the trends. And as you will see later on, going further with the slides, the trends are structured in a way that are a combination of multiple insights that are providing multiple information to our brands and to our clients in a way which is significantly more amplified and giving a broader vision of all the different implications that can be connected to the trend. I would love to take you through a full demonstration of how Next Atlas works. However, that would take quite a significant time. I will be very happy if you just drop me an email to take through the demonstration. And what I would like to do now is just run a very, very short video that will give you the idea about how Next Atlas, how the Next Atlas platform works. And the video should start in a few seconds.
Seeing into the future is no guessing game, and sometimes it's hard to see through so many possibilities. Next Atlas helps you find a way to be ahead of your time and of your competitors by connecting the dots with data. We are a unique end-to-end data platform, blending advanced AI technology with the collective insights of hundreds of thousands of innovators to spot the next big thing before it even starts trending. You get to personalize your trend hunting experience while we analyze social media streams and transform them into actionable insights. From trend facts to relevant correlations, track tags or curated contents, we provide bespoke cross-industry data that is spot on for your brand. Our advanced algorithms will make the invisible visible by tracing the emerging trends that will inspire you to make the sound decisions for your curated future, so you can see it coming with Next Atlas.
So I do believe that every organization has the challenge and had the challenge to think about how to implement foresight in the organization, in the company, in a way that is actually helpful for the business. And I would love to hear your opinion about this. It's a constant conversation that we have with our clients, and very often, you know, when we gave access to the license of Next Atlas to our clients, one of the questions that we were asked is, what do we do with the data? How can we use this data to make them usable and therefore effective and profitable for our company? And Next Atlas itself is actually providing the information, providing the data, and the data need to be analyzed and made in the context of the business. And this is what we have been doing with mondelez and with many other customers. But to do that, the way to do that is actually to basically distribute and split all the data that we have and we get from social media into elements that are useful. So this is basically the methodology that we use. As you can imagine, there are millions of posts generated every hour in social media. And on their entirety, the posts are not really helpful on their own. However, by dividing and structure and dividing and destructuring the post in all the different elements of a post, we can start articulating and structuring and organizing all those information into what we call entities. So the entities can be word, color, country, ingredients, fashion, different industry, profession, and there are many different entities that can be distributed and organized. Those entities are allowing us to make the data usable by creating search engine so that we can, through Next Atlas, really go down into the details of what is the meaning of each entity. And so this is basically the flow that is followed by everyone that is using Next Atlas. From the entities, everyone can actually do a search. By doing the search, can identify the facts, the insights, and the trends which are really relevant for the customer, for anyone. So by identifying and collecting and correlating your industry, your geography, your consumers with the specific entities, you can really come out with the fact and the insights and the trends that are useful for you. And beyond that, one of the great work we did with Serhiy, his team, and Mondelez was actually to create real quantification around foresight. And to do that, we actually developed a number of different metrics. And those metrics are the ones that are really transforming and changing foresight into science. And you can see the metrics there. These are penetration, distribution, reach, intensity, frequency, country and geographical elements, and obviously organized by trend. Those are the metrics that we have developed with a mindset. I come from the media industry, which is very much connecting or using the same approach that the media industry has used in the past to analyze the effectiveness, efficiencies of media or media investment into the data and into foresight. Penetration is giving us the entity and the size of the opportunity. The distribution is giving us the view from a geographical perspective. The reach is obviously giving us the kind of spread of the opportunity within a trend. The intensity is giving us the volume of engagement and so on and so forth. So all these metrics has been metrics that we have developed in order to make the analysis of the facts and the insights and so on really relevant and usable for our customer. Another great work that we did, and this is one of the gaps that has been always and often found by many social media listeners, is the geographical distribution. With Mondelez, we identified that we had in Next Atlas gaps around Latin America, around the Middle East, and also around Asia. And by creating our community of audiences across many markets, we have really reached a global vision of how trends are evolving. So today we can actually analyze specifically in over 25 different markets across the world, starting from the traditional social media markets, the US, UK, and the rest of Europe, but then going deep dive in Latin America, in Brazil, in Argentina, in the Middle East, and particularly we are focusing on Saudi Arabia, on Turkey and other parts of Middle East and Africa, as well as Indonesia, Malaysia, and various Asian countries. And we have done it by the ability of analyzing and seeing the visual element and the verbal element. So the ability also to translate from the different local languages, and also to bring those local languages in Next Atlas. So you can actually find the actual feeds and the actual posts in the local language, which are making those trends and those facts more credible and more relevant. And then the other metrics I already mentioned earlier on are the reach, the intensity, the frequency, and the distribution of that by trend. By using and adopting those metrics and making those metrics meaningful for the business, we have basically translated a pure, simple analysis and inspirational aspect of identifying trends into something which is measurable for the business and can actually help to create proper projection. But we constantly innovate. We never stop thinking about how can we actually deliver something in a more constructive and useful way for the for our customer. And so the next frontier has been the fact that now we are able, and with Mondelez, we have been working on it in the past year, to provide and give access to the Next Atlas data through our APIs. What this means is that it becomes an easy way to have a full digital integration between the API data coming from Next Atlas and the data lake and the digital infrastructure of the client. And this is what we have been developing with Mondelez, but is now accessible and possible for any client that could be interested in not only accessing Next Atlas through our server and through our portal, which is very colorful, very nice, and very visual to be seen, but also bringing the data into your system and making them work combined with potentially multiple sources that that our client could need. So I've taken quite a bit of time to explain, how Next Atlas work, what is that we do and how we do it. But I think the most interesting thing is to see it live through the story that Serhiy is going to tell us about Mondelez. So I would like to hand over to Serhiy for this and hear what the Mondelez story is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. Thank you very much, and thank you, Danica, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Serhiy. I'm happy to be here today with you. I lead strategic foresight functions for Mondelez International. I'm based in Singapore, so if it's a little bit darker, which is how Mario has presented, that's because it's really a night here already. Within the next 20 minutes, I will talk about impact-oriented trend management at Mondelez and how our cooperation with Next Atlas helps us with this process. So first, about the company I represent. Mondelez International, as Danica has mentioned, is a snacking powerhouse. It is headquartered in the United States, and we have operations all over the world in about 150 markets. The company has a revenue of about $27 billion and capitalization of about $90 billion. Key snacking categories that we participate in are biscuits, chocolate, gum, and candy. We are world leader in biscuits category, and we hold #2 position in the rest of our core categories, that is chocolate, gum, and candy. And we have some other categories like powdered beverages and cheese. If you haven't heard about the company itself, I bet that you have heard about our brands. We have iconic brands such as Oreo, Milka, Cadbury Dairy Milk, and Cadbury Overall, Philadelphia, Belvita. These are large brands, global brands, and we have also a number of local brands like Alpengold, that is a strong chocolate brand in Russia, and Kindu brand that is famous in Vietnam. Company mission is snacking made right, and extended version of that mission is to lead the future of snacking around the world by offering the right snack for the right moment, made the right way. So as you can see, the very word future is embedded already in company mission. It shows you that we are pretty serious about anticipating the future. And therefore, we have strategic foresight as the function within the company. The ambition of strategic foresight, the function that I lead, is to promote long-term thinking and spearhead forward-looking culture in our company. that is equip Mondelez community with Foresight tools and methods that helps us to future-proof our strategies. Company leadership team and company chief executive officer personally, they are very vocal about the importance of leading from the future. So Foresight initiatives, they have support and endorsement from the top. For about a year, we are building strategic foresight machinery function in Mondelez, and we believe in a systematic and continuous engagement with the future. And there are several essential components of a foresight model that we deploy. First is Center of Excellence, and to this foresight function, we have a smaller team, and we have chosen such a model deliberately because we don't want foresight function to hold a monopoly on understanding the future. We would like to empower entire Mondelez community to engage with the future and give them the right tools and methods to do so. So we are less of a think tank and more like foresight champions and change managers. A second component is foresight activity cycle, and it describes how exactly foresight plans impact in the organization. The third one is a trend management platform that enables us to monitor and evaluate change systematically. I will talk about it more in a couple of minutes. And then we have a Foresight community. This is the group of our colleagues that are enthusiastic about Foresight. They are basically volunteers, and they are true champions of the future in their respective functions and business units. We have about 40 people now in counting. And we have numerous stakeholders, of course, in the company that we engage in a different way. And further, I will talk about one of the components of Foresight activity cycle. It is called impact-oriented trend management. And I will also talk about interactive trend management platform because it's very much connected to impact-oriented trend management and it supports trend management process. And if you look at the foresight as a process, it has three phases: perceiving, prospecting, and probing. And perceiving is about detecting change. It includes trend scouting, also systematization of trends and trend intelligence. Prospecting is about making sense of the change. So when we have trends, we need to understand which of these trends would impact the future of our industry or our business in a more profound way or a lesser way, and when this impact would happen exactly. And this includes trend evaluation, trend prioritization, understanding trend implications, and deriving opportunities and threats for our company that arise from the trend implications. Last phase is probing, and this is putting foresight or trend insights into action, and there are several ways to do so. First, we can work directly with the opportunities and threats, turning them into business projects. Second, we can use trend intelligence while working on particular strategy, and usually we talk about the future with a situational assessment. Situational assessment is an essential component of any strategy, so strategic process. And finally, we can use the trends to inform scenario building. That is a fundamental future visioning exercise, and then we can use the outcomes of scenario building in our strategic activities. And as I have mentioned, the impact-oriented trend management process is supported in our case by amazing online platform. We call the platform FTR, that is short for both the future and Foresight Trend Research. It's highly customizable, and we have recreated or emulated entire trend management process in digital format using the platform. So this green box shows you what processes and what modules are in the platform that support all the processes that we run within impact-oriented trend management. And now, before we watch a short video about FTR platform, let me mention one thing. The holy grail of trend management actually is not trend scouting. Yes, it's not the first step to find relevant trends. It might be used, it might be so in the past, but not anymore. Why so? Because we are drowning today in the sea of information, and some trend platforms, there are many outside in the market, they claim to have about 300,000 trends or so. And this is just the one platform. And if you Google trends or consumer trends or even something more specific with the word trend there, it is likely that you will get billions of results easily. So the holy grail of trend management today is not trend scouting, but rather trend evaluation and prioritization. Mario has mentioned it in his part as well. And traditionally, trend evaluation has been done based on experts' opinion. So you ask, in our case, industry snacking experts, what do you think are the most important trends? And we do it partially as well, of course, because nothing can beat human intelligence yet. But with the development of internet and social media, there are new sources of information that both help us to harvest the trends and also quantify them, because we are talking about a huge amount of data, and Mario covered this already in his part. And that's where exactly Next Atlas shines. They have quantification for their trends, and we have worked together this year to democratize and simplify the trend quantification for our purpose. Further, let's see a video about the platform. All right, so you might have noticed Next Atlas trends are there, yes, but they look quite different versus what Mario has shown, and this is precisely because we have built an API bridge between the database, Next Atlas database, and FTR that is supported by another our good strategic partner, the company called Daytonics. So they look distinctive in terms of overall look and feel, how FTR looks. Yes, because we have the principle of single source of truth when it comes to trend intelligence and one-stop shop for all future-related information in the company. And as you have seen from this short video, it's all about collaboration. Yeah? So the platform is not just a repository of trends. Yes, that would not bring additional value because there are a lot of information out there, as we have covered already. It's all about collaboration, and the magic happens when mondelez community comes together and share their ideas using the platform and thoughts about the future of our industry, the future of our company, and then we can really get the full picture. We have an amazingly diverse community of snacking experts. These are all our employees, of course, around the globe and also across various functions, from procurement to marketing. And the platform serves as a powerful enabler for nurturing and harvesting the wisdom and creativity of our people. And so that's the main purpose of the platform. It's not just a mere trend repository. And let us see where exactly Next Atlas Trend Intelligence is within mondelez trend framework that we have built and trend intelligence that accompanies, of course, our trend framework. Trend framework itself we have created together with another partner agency, and this is a compilation of the best trend reports in existence. Both ones that are available publicly from companies like McKinsey, Deloitte, Ernst & Young, and other consultancies and think tanks. And also some proprietary trend frameworks that we have created together with some other companies in the past. As you can see from this illustration, trend framework has a hierarchical structure. There are 5 megatrends, underneath them 24 macro trends, and about 130 trends. And these are all trends that might materially impact the future of food and snacking, but they are not industry specific, so they are not food and snacking trends only. They might be geopolitical trends or technological trends, because the impact might come from this trend for our industry as well, as therefore we really scan widely. Then if you look at the underwater part of so-called iceberg, we have a powerful trend intelligence module there. And that's where exactly we have Next Atlas trends. And as you might have noticed, we call them sub-trends, not to mix them with the last hierarchical structure of the trend framework that are also called trends. So it's about differentiation. And there are about 560 Next Atlas sub-trends, and they bring 2 critical benefits to our trend intelligence. First is it's a deep dive. These are consumer-specific trends, or at least majority of them, and they provide kind of a double click. It's easy to understand that about one mondelez trend is connected to 5-6 different Next Atlas trends. So if our people would like to understand a specific trend from a trend framework better, they can always go use the relations and see underlying Next Atlas trends. And it's not only about double click, because Next Atlas, unlike the rest of the trends, they have also regional perspective that is, of course, super valuable for the company like ours. And the second benefit is quantification. Mario has mentioned already reach and frequency that we have built together, so it is meaningful. And quantification we don't have just for Next Atlas trends. We basically aggregate Next Atlas trends that belong to a specific mondelez trend from the mondelez trend framework. That's where we have built a taxonomy together. And we have quantification also on a higher level, just along our entire hierarchical structure. So this way we can power quantification, we can introduce quantification to entire mondelez trend framework. And as you can see from the illustration, apart from Next Atlas, we have other trend sources, or trend intelligence sources rather. First is AI-powered signals module from the company called Datonics. They are original owners of FTR platform, so we're using their solution. And Signal scouts the web in real time and fetches publications relevant for each individual trend. Yeah, it's like millions and millions of publications, and all are in real life, and not only news and articles. These are also scientific publications and even patents from open patent databases. And of course, we have also good old manual trend intelligence curation. So if our people, anyone actually from Mondelez community, because anyone can have an access, has already an access to the platform, they can bring in so-called inspiration to the platform using browser add-on that allows to clip any publication, any article in the internet and send it to the platform with literally just 2 clicks. So it's not, of course, entire article, but just the link with a short description and the picture. So it's a great way to enrich our trend intelligence for trends that we're specifically interested in, and also a collaboration component of XDR platform. And now let us look at a real business case when we have used trend intelligence as the company, and for this case we have used it for the innovation. Within Mondelez, we have a company within company. It is called Snack Futures. And Snack Futures team, they operate like a snacking startup, so they are fairly independent in what they do. And they use rapid prototyping to develop various innovative snacking brands and products and solutions. And we then test them in the market, and if they are successful, they can become the part of a larger Mondelez portfolio. And one of such brands is Milligram, and in its portfolio, it has nut butters with mushroom powders. And it took Snack Futures team only 9 weeks to develop product bundle concept. And they had along the way a lot of ideation sessions and rapid testing with consumers. And the entire concept has started from trend intelligence and, of course, consumer insights, because mushrooms are becoming more popular as the ingredient for functional food and functional snacks. And here is the illustration of this. If we would look at our trend framework, there is what you see now is a trend radar, and within the trend radar, we have a trend called functional nutrition. And we have 4 Next Atlas trends or sub-trends in our terminology connected to functional nutrition trend. And one of the trends, Next Atlas trends, is called fungal proliferation. And it explicitly points towards increasing popularity of mushrooms and function, and the fact that people consume mushrooms because they would like to get certain functional benefits with the food. So this is the example of trend intelligence that fuels innovation pipeline. And as a summary from my side, with Next Atlas, we have a strategic partnership that is based on, as Mario mentioned, the concept of co-creation. And I personally cannot be happier with the team and the level of cooperation that we have. It's really about co-creation. It's not just a client-customer relationship. We ideate a lot together, and we build things together, like this improved quantification that we both have mentioned. And as I have covered, Next Atlas data gives us more granular level for consumer trends, and double-click, triple-click, or even quadruple-click. And it gives us an excellent quantification and measurement for the trend that becomes much more and more important in today's world, where we are flooded basically with the sea of information. Mario, over to you.
Thanks. That was it's always amazing to read this story. And yeah, I mean, I cannot actually reinforce more what you just said. I mean, the relationship with clients such as Mondelez helps us to have a continuous improvement, and we are focused on never stopping and thinking about what is the next, what and how can Next Atlas work better, how can be more relevant for our clients, and how can actually innovate in terms of identifying new ways of understanding consumers, consumer behaviors and change, and anticipating the future. working together in a strong relationship by co-creating and so on give us also a better understanding of client needs. If I go back 4 or 5 years to the first inception of Next Atlas, it was a completely different product and was a product coming out of a great vision from our founders and the sense of a great opportunity, but with the need of being crafted and shaped around really what is relevant for the clients and what the clients want to hear. And with relationships such as the one that we have with Mondelez, with Serhiy and his team, this is where we actually become and get more relevant. And finally, this is then bringing a kind of win-win scenario for us and for our clients, because on our side, obviously, there is the big investment of being or having been a startup and obviously with the ambition of growing and becoming a strong presence and reality in the business, but ultimately creating and generating a profitable business for ourselves. But in the meantime, obviously, giving an improved return on investment from the client perspective on what they are getting from Next Atlas. So really we want to base our relationship into partnership, because we believe that partnership is the way we can improve and get our product better, and obviously we can work together better with our clients. So I think this takes us to the end of the journey, and we still have a few minutes now for some Q&As that Serhiy and myself will be very happy to answer. Danica, can you facilitate or help us to navigate this?
Absolutely. Thank you both so much for this interesting collaboration and for the insights that you shared. We did have a few questions that came in, and certainly if anyone's still wanting to ask questions, you can do that through the widget down below, the Q&A widget icon. Just click on that and answer or submit your question. But to kick off, Mario and Serhiy, we had a question from Richard at the very beginning that said, can you provide examples of weak signals that emerged as trends?
Right. Let me answer this, because probably is something that is close to my heart. I will give you a couple of examples. One is a sort of historical example we always use for our credentials, which is quite a funny one, which is about avocado on toast. So if you go around and you go to Starbucks or to Caffè Nero or to any fast food nowadays, you will be able to buy an avocado on toast as part of your lunch. But if you did it 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, this was not actually the case. And one of the weak signals that we identified was precisely the fact that things like that kind of meal or preference for the consumer was going to happen and was going to be a big hit in the market. And then this was basically an anticipation of 18 to 24 months before really the product and the avocado on toast offer hit the market and became a mainstream. I want to make another example, which is a little bit more tech-driven, but is also to show the ability to find things that are not just only mainstream and not only focused on big consumers. Maybe not all of you are familiar with NFT, non-fungible token, but non-fungible token are a big hit and something that is extremely popular at the moment, is part of the new wave of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and blockchain and so on and so forth. We started identifying NFT as an emerging kind of phenomena about late 2018. And at that time, basically, if you went back into social media, you would find very, very little conversation about NFT. We started identifying that those kind of conversation were coming up at very, very low level. We monitored that, and when we got enough data to say that and make the prediction, we predicted that it would have been a big event or a big phenomena around late 2020, which is eventually what happened. So this is to give you the idea that we can actually focus on the micro elements or things that are completely unknown and blue sky, as well as things that can become really large for the consumers.
Thank you so much for that, Mario. And Serhiy, this question is for you. How did you use, we have Yasik asking, how did you use Next Atlas to find the relevant insights? And were you able to deep dive using Next Atlas, or did you have to rely on other vendors?
Well, it's always the mix. Yeah? So, of course, it's not only about Next Atlas. Next Atlas is extremely helpful, but then even with Next Atlas and the impressive quantity of trends that Next Atlas has, in order to understand a certain trend, you still need to do a lot of manual search and evaluation. Yes, and FTR does help with that. I have mentioned the signals module, where you can, it's like an enhanced version of Google that is always specific to the trend that you are researching. So it's just going through the publications, it's going through the articles, it's searching, it's basically still using different sources of information, including also traditional consumer insights and research, right, to understand the trends better. Yeah, so there is no silver bullet, unfortunately. Maybe with the development of artificial intelligence, sometime in the future there would be one, yeah, but as I have mentioned, nothing can replace still good old human intelligence. So it's a mix of things, yes.
Thank you for that. And just following on that, Serhiy, there's also a question about the internal key stakeholders at Mondelez and who they are.
Oh, I can talk about it.
So many different ones.
All right, so when it comes to strategic foresight, we belong to Insights Analytics and we belong to marketing. So Insights Analytics fall into larger marketing community. But while traditional Insights Analytics, they have as their major stakeholder, main stakeholder marketing, we have stakeholders all over the place. So basically entire organization, any department that engages in strategic activities is automatically our stakeholder. One of our big and important stakeholders for us is, for example, RTQ, that is research, development, and quality. Another one, rightly so, all the global functions and global corporate strategy, for example. And marketing, of course, is one of the prime stakeholders as well.
Thank you so much. Mario, going back to you, and I believe you're actually attempting to answer this already behind the scenes, but how long in time are the foresights for that are being made? 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? And maybe you can also, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Danica. Yeah, I've seen the question. So the what I want to say is that the important element of Next Atlas is that it's always on. So basically, when you analyze the data and you look at the data from Next Atlas, there is a good prediction in a period of 12 to 18 months, up to the 24 months, which has a prediction with a good margin of error. I mean, a low error, of course. But then obviously the prediction that is going beyond those terms become weaker and weaker. But the point of Next Atlas is to continuously monitor the changes and being able to basically make those predictions more precise. We call Next Atlas a little bit the GPS of trends. So if you need to go from London to Glasgow per se, and you apply your GPS, the GPS will tell you how many hours it will take. But this is a prediction based on the moment of traffic. And of course, as you move along, that prediction will change. The idea of Next Atlas is to constantly being able to monitor and analyze that prediction to make it more precise the closer you get to your destination.
And just to kind of follow up on that, then it was, Gaurav was also asking how long it took to reach this level. So were there many how many iterations were made there?
Years. So the inception of Next Atlas was sometime around 2014, 2015, and this is how back we go with the analysis of trends. So I think Serhiy mentioned about the fact that in Next Atlas there are more than 500 trends that are constantly monitored, and they go actually back to 2014, and so the to really put together and have an engine which is as accurate as today, it probably took something like 3 or 4 years, and longer if we look at when the inception of the idea happened. And the point is that it's continuous improvement. So it's not finished here. Next Atlas will get better and better as we move forward.
Absolutely. There's more questions coming in for both of you. I'm mindful of the time, though, so I'm not sure if we want to answer one or two more, or if we should close up and kind of connect behind the scenes.
Maybe I would like to answer one quick question, which is about how does Next Atlas work for B2B environments. As long as we are actually analyzing and talking about topics that can be of interest of a consumer, we can be also relevant for B2B companies and B2B brands. And I give you an example. We work in technology industry, we work in the pharmaceutical or chemical industries, and even in the packaging industry. In the packaging industry, package producer want to bring the latest innovation of packaging to their clients in order to make the packaging more attractive and interesting for the customer, for the end consumer. And so a packaging company will actually focus on selling business to business. However, the end consumer will always have an impact on the packaging choices and so on. So this is where basically the combination of B2B and B2C can come together, as long as the topic is a topic that reach in some way or form the consumer, and therefore consumers are talking about it in social media.
Thank you so much for that, Mario. Thank you. And for anyone who's had submitted a question that wasn't answered, we'll be absolutely sure to connect you with Mario and to Serhiy so that they can be answered behind the scenes. Thank you both so much for your time today, for the efforts, for sharing your stories, Mario and Serhiy, and all of you, the participants, for enjoying and sharing in this webinar today. We really do hope you enjoyed your time with us. If you are interested in what's coming up with SMR, please do check out the reports and resources icon. There is a link to our events page there, as well as a pamphlet or membership, over our membership, if you're interested in figuring out a little bit more and learning a little bit more about SMR as an organization. So many, many thanks to you all. Without your support, we wouldn't be able to put on webinars like this. And Mario and Serhiy, again, for your knowledge, for your expertise, thank you for joining us. And we look forward to collaborating again and hopefully seeing all of you again. Many thanks, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Danica and Serhiy, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.